Sunday. Now, before you see my eyebrows, I just got them done 2 hours ago. So I got my Groucho Marx dark eyebrows going on. Calm down, it's all right. When I get them threaded and tinted, they're always a little dark for a few days. It'll look better in a few days. But right now I have very dark eyebrows. Some people get tore out of frame when I have my eyebrows done, and they have to explain to me why they were done wrong. Darling, they weren't done wrong. It's henna dye. It's gonna be a little dark for a couple days, and then it just kind of calms down. After I wash my face a few times, it doesn't look like that anymore. I wanted to just say that. And yes, I still have a bruise on my face from a dental procedure that I had over a week and a half ago. It's still there. I'm just all bashed up in the face today. I don't know. I can't do a whole lot about it. Anyway, I was going to talk about the different generations. Now, I'm on my way to TJ Maxx, which is a store that I don't know that I've ever made a video in TJ Maxx. Maybe I have. I may have. If I did, I know it was a long time ago. So I've had several people ask me if I would go somewhere like Ross or Marshall's or TJ Maxx and see if I could make a video in there. These are not really stores I shop in, so I never really think about it. But I decided, well, this weekend, while I have a three-day weekend, maybe I should try to go somewhere like that. So I've decided to go check out TJ Maxx. Now, we have 2 TJ Maxx locations here in the city where I live. And I looked them up online, and it looks like there's one that's not quite as busy as the other for some reason. If you look on Google at the crowd meter or whatever, where it shows the busy times, it looks like this one's just not that busy typically. I'm going to go to that one because the other one looks like it's just jumping all the time. Well, not all the time, but on the weekends, it's really busy. I don't want to go there. So I'm going to go to the other one. So that's where we're headed right now. So I was going to just ramble a little bit about the different generations of people. You know, everybody's in a generation, whatever it is. It depends on the year you were born. I'm Generation X, Gen X, very solidly Gen X. And when you say Gen X or Boomer or Millennial, Gen Z, everybody, whether you like it or not, everybody kind of forms this. You think certain things when you hear certain generations. You do, I do, everybody does. There are kind of, I guess, stereotypical things that you might think about when you think about different generations. And it's true for all of us. Every generation, there just are assumptions that people may make about you if you're part of that generation. Or if you do something, they'll say, oh, typical millennial, oh, typical whatever. They do. But some people get a little upset about that, as I learned the other day when I used the term boomer tendencies. Did I say boomer? I think I said boomer tendencies. I was talking about my neighbor who is insane. She's 61 years old and has been a menace. She's been a boil on the ass of my whole neighborhood now for 5 years. I was not meaning to impugn the entire generation of people. I wasn't talking about anyone in particular other than her. I was talking about her. But some people got upset. Some people said they were going to unsubscribe. One lady said I ruined her weekend because I said that. And my first thought was, imagine having a life that is so free of problems that a random stranger on the internet uttering a phrase could ruin your weekend. Like, what's that like? Oh my God. Anyway, some people who are part of the boomer generation took that personally and they don't like me anymore. So they said, they're probably still here. That's fine. That's fine. You're like the people in Eckerd's when I worked there. When you didn't get a deal, you would state, I'm never shopping here again. Then I'd see you 2 days later. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm just saying that's kind of what it reminded me of. Sorry. Now, one thing I will ask you to do as I talk about these generations is to remember. I want you to remember, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm not. I'm talking about a generation in general terms. That's all I'm doing. If you take it personally and you feel attacked, you might want to go talk to somebody about that, because nobody's attacking you. They're not. Nobody is attacking you. People have like a hair trigger these days, man. Everybody's on edge. You can't say anything without somebody just losing their shit. I don't know why. My goodness, everybody's sensitive. And I lump myself in that category, because sometimes I catch myself getting mad about stuff that's stupid, and then later I'll have to admit I got mad about something that was really stupid. I also have a prescription for you from Dr. Mary. Here's what I want you to do, because I want you to learn to laugh at yourself. I want you to learn to take things as they are intended. They are not intended to be attacks. You can learn to laugh at yourself. I want you to watch some videos from this guy. His name is Jared, Jerrod, Benson, Benson. I think that's his last name. He makes, and not all of his videos are great. I mean, some of them are kind of funny. You may have to watch a few. But he makes fun of every single generation, from silent generation all the way to Gen Alpha. He makes fun of all of us. And he's not wrong, and that's why it's funny. It's funny because the stuff he said is true. Like, where's the lie? When he makes fun of Gen X, I don't get upset. I don't get insulted. I look at that and laugh, like, you know what? We do actually, that's true. We do say that. We do that kind of stuff. Yeah, he's not wrong. And it is funny because it's true. Gen X, we relish in the fact that we are overlooked a lot and we are ignored a lot. It went like boomer to millennial, and we're just like forgotten a lot of the times. A lot of statistics and surveys don't even include us. Like, they just forget we exist. And we kind of revel in that. We humble brag a lot about how we had to drink from the hose growing up, and we were latchkey kids, and our parents didn't give a shit about us, and we had to raise ourselves. And he makes fun of all that, and it's funny because it's totally true, because we do kind of wear that like a badge of honor, that we are, that's my generation. We're the poor forgotten Gen X generation. And it's funny. So what he does these videos like every generation goes to the drugstore, or every generation gets in an Uber, and how, like, in that scenario, how would somebody from that generation react? What are you looking at? It's a car. No. So it's funny because he goes after everybody. No generation is spared. He makes fun of all of us. And I love that the silent generation, back in my day, we had Italians doing that. Because it kind of reminds me of my dad, because both of my parents are silent generation, and just back in my day, he wears these really thick glasses. So he has little uniforms that he wears for every generation. So, like, they always wear the same shirt or a hat or something. And it's just interesting and funny to me, because he makes fun of all of us. It doesn't matter. And you can learn to kind of laugh at yourself a little bit. And you might want to, if you are insulted by people making fun of your generation, you might want to stop and ask yourself, why does that bother you so much? Why does it bother you? So, all right. So there's that. So Jared Benson, just check this. Not all the videos are funny. I mean, some of them are funnier than others. Just check him out. They're shorts. They're just little shorts, and they're funny. And he's going to make fun of your generation. He made fun of mine. I'm not offended by it at all. I think it's funny because he's absolutely correct about how how we tend to be, and we feel sorry for ourselves, and we oh, that's okay, you were always forgotten. I drank out of the water hose when I was growing up. Yeah, shut up, nobody cares. So he goes after everybody. So learn to laugh at yourself, because life is just not that damn serious. And that's something that I have learned from my 2 Gen Z children, is to just calm the hell down. Like, it is not that serious. Life is not that serious. It's only life after all, as they said in the song Closer to Fine by the Indigo Girls, which if it ever comes on in my car and you're with me, you are going to be treated to a concert, because I will turn it up and sing the whole damn song. That song kicks ass. Totally unrelated to the subject. But yeah, it's just life. It is so many things in life that we get bent out of shape about don't matter. They really don't matter. Why? Why do we get so emotionally invested in things that don't matter? Just something to think about, because sometimes I do it too, and sometimes I wonder why I do it. Like, why do I care? It's just life. And so I've kind of learned from my kids to just, calm down. Just, you really are getting upset about nothing. You really are. It's not worth all this flapping around that you're doing. So maybe calm down a little bit. So they've helped me kind of calm down a little bit. They have. My kids are awesome. I've learned a lot from them. It's been really great. And it's nice too to have a younger generation's perspective on stuff too. It's educational, very educational. I was thinking about how all the generations, now this is just my opinion, this is just kind of my observation. It seems like we're at a point in time where, I think it's for a multitude of reasons, but it seems like all the generations are kind of at each other's throats a little bit. Like we're all kind of nipping at each other. Have you noticed that? There's a lot of just this vitriol between among the generations. And it's all of them really. We're all just kind of mad at each other, although I don't know that we can really pinpoint why that is. Why do we have so much resentment toward the other generations? And I don't know, and I could be wrong, I don't know that you could really find any other point in history where the different generations were at each other's throats like this. I mean, do you know of any? I don't know of any other point in time when there was this much of a sort of a tribal war going on between the generations like we have now. Now, of course, I think it's always been a thing that the older generations look at the younger generations like, they're slackers, they don't pay attention, they daydream, they don't want to work, they're lazy. I think that's kind of always been a thing. I think older generations have always looked at the younger generations that way, but I'm talking about, it goes beyond that with the present day stuff. Like, really, and I think a lot of it is social media. I think that kind of fuels it. I think that perpetuates it. It fuels it. It makes it worse. I think it's that, that you can get on here and say anything you want, and other people are like, yeah, that generation sucks, and it just goes from there. It's content that people consume. So I think that's part of it. Also, I think it's just the climate right now of just like, the general climate is just very in flux. Everything's kind of up in the air right now. Do you feel it? Like there's this uncertainty, like we're all waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like we are all waiting for something to happen. We don't know what. I mean, I've been feeling it for about 10 years. It's just been this weird, like you feel like something's coming, but you don't know what. It's just kind of, and after a while, it kind of gets on your nerves. So it's kind of like when you have animals under stress, which we are animals, and I do believe we're under a lot of stress in the current day for a lot of reasons. You start finding ways to lash out, like you want to release that tension, and you're looking for somebody to blame. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why? And you just start attacking. You're just going to attack random, whoever else is in there with you. You're going to attack them somehow. I think that's part of it. I think we're looking for somebody to blame. Like, why does everything suck? It must be them. It must be that generation. They screwed everything up. And I hear that a lot. I'm going to tell you, I hear that a lot from Gen Z people. My kids, their friends, they talk about this stuff. When I was their age, I never even gave a shit about stuff like this. I was more concerned about, going and buying a cassette tape at the mall or something. Like, I wasn't concerned about the global shit going on. Like, I didn't care. No, they're talking about it. Younger people are talking about it in ways that my generation never did. Not that I know of. Not really. No, when I was a teenager, I didn't give a shit about other generations. I never talked about the older generations like that. Gen Z, I mean, this is anecdotal, but just from hearing my kids and their friends talking about it, they don't like boomers. They don't. They blame boomers for a lot. They really do. They have a lot of resentment toward boomers. And they talk about it, how, they call you greedy. They say you tanked the economy. You don't understand the climate that they're living in right now, and how things for them are not like they were for you when you were young. Things are very different now, and boomers don't understand that, and they think we're just lazy, and we just don't want to work. And no, we just don't want to work for starvation wages in a world that we can no longer afford to exist in a way that boomers didn't have to deal with. The world was very different when they were young. Coming out of World War II, all these babies were born, and a lot of time and energy was put into the boomer generation, because they were like, the shining hope, like they were the symbol of American prosperity in a time when most of the rest of the Western world was, seriously messed up from World War II. We were spared a lot of that here on our soil, so we were able to kind of take over a lot of different industries, and we could grow and thrive and kick ass in ways that no other generation before or since ever got to enjoy. The boomers really were born at a magical time. They were. They got to see a world and live in a world that no other generation, again, before or since, has been able to enjoy. Prosperity, leisure time, discretionary income. One person could work, and they could afford to support a wife and kids staying at home. I'm not saying it's literally impossible now, but the likelihood of a Gen Z person or a millennial being able to do that now, I don't know, maybe if you hit the lottery or something, but the average home in the United States right now is over $400,000 for the average home, which blows my mind. It blows my mind. So I said all that to just say there is vitriol. There is a lot of animosity among the generations. There really is. And quite frankly, after, watching what my son went through to get a full-time job, nothing special, nothing crazy, just to get a full-time job, that was a real eye-opener for me. Was, holy shit, it is crazy out there. Just, there are so many fake jobs, ghost jobs, and you can't just walk into a place and shake somebody's hand and get a job. No, they're going to say, go to the website. Go to the website. Go to the website, apply there. We'll never respond, but you can certainly go to the website and apply. My son, oh my God, just trying to get a full-time job, it was unreal how long it took him and how much work he had to put into it. I personally have never had to experience anything like that as a Gen X person. And again, this is anecdotal. I realize your situation may be totally different, so you don't need to say to me, well, Mary, that wasn't my experience. That's anecdotal. I'm not saying it was everybody's experience. I'm saying this was my son's experience. This has been the experience of quite a few of his friends. He has friends who have been looking for a full-time job for months and just cannot find one. They can find part-time work. Full-time? Good luck. College graduates, same thing. You go get the degree. You go do the things that they told you to do. They told you, go to college, get a degree. You'll be guaranteed a good job. You'll be financially comfortable. They're still telling kids that in school. And for a lot of kids, it's just not true. It's just not true. But they're being given outdated advice by people of previous generations for whom that was true, but it no longer is. And I think a lot of older people, including my generation, because I had no idea how bad it was, a lot of older generations, people in older generations really cannot appreciate how much things have changed just in the last 5 to 10 years in the job market, the housing market. basically everything has changed. Nothing is like it used to be. All the rules and all the guidelines that you had, you can throw them out the window because they no longer apply. And so I don't have an answer. I don't have a solution to any of this. I don't. Another reason I think people are kind of biting at each other, and this is just my theory. This is something that I just kind of noticed back during COVID. I come from a family where nobody watches sports, nobody plays sports, no one has any interest in sports at all. And I was always fascinated by people's obsession with sports teams. Like, why do you care so much? Which team, threw the ball and grabbed it and ran over there more times? Why is that interesting to you? Why do you care? I don't get it. And I always said sports serve no purpose. They serve absolutely no purpose. Why are people so obsessed with sports? I don't get it. Well, during COVID, you saw a lot of that go away. You didn't have gatherings. You didn't have this stuff. And people just kind of, there wasn't any of that. This is just my little theory on what happened. I think humans we are very social animals. We are tribal animals. We have our groups. We have our tribes. You have your group. You have your in-group preference. Like, you're with this team and they're with that team. Well, we don't like them because they are not our team. That is another team. We don't like them. And I think, thousands and thousands of years ago, that served us really well. It would help preserve your little village. You all band together to fight the outsiders coming in. I think in modern day, I think sports kind of took the place of that. Like, sports kind of serves as a little surrogate. Like, you can still have that caveman brain mentality, but you kind of put it into how you feel about sports. Well, if sports goes away, where do we satisfy that tribal thing? Where do we satisfy that? Well, where do you think people satisfied it during COVID? I can't really talk about a lot of that on YouTube because the video will get flagged. Certain words, you can't use certain things. Can you think of ways that people kind of formed their own little tribes during COVID and other stuff that maybe have been going on during those years? I absolutely can. I can think of a couple of things, a couple of different ways people would form into their little groups. And so we have the starbelly sneetches and the plain belly sneetches, and they don't get along. The starbelly sneetches think it's Dr. Seuss. The sneetches, if you ever read that story, it's my favorite Dr. Seuss story, where there's this arbitrary thing. The sneetches, they're these bird-looking things, and some of them were born with stars on their bellies and some weren't. So the ones with the stars decided they were superior to the ones who didn't have it, who were born with plain bellies. So they convinced themselves that they were superior. So they would look down on the plain bellies. They wouldn't let them participate in anything with them. They would snub them and talk shit about them. And so it's an interesting story. But in the end, they realized it doesn't really matter whether you have a star or not. We're all the same. There's no need to treat each other, shamefully because they don't have this arbitrary thing. I can think of some ways that we kind of grouped up into tribes around, during and after COVID. I can think of a couple of different ways that humans did that. Just paying attention to human behavior, like, yep, you've picked a group you don't like and you've decided that you're superior to them, and so you're going to talk shit about them. I think that has also applied to generations. I think that tribal thing has also now been applied to the different generations of people. So we have now decided that the other generations are the enemy. Older people think the younger people are the enemy. Like, you're ruining everything. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You're ruining everything. And then the younger people saying, well, you already ruined everything because of this and that. We're living in this shit now because of what your generation did. And you just have all this friction. And I don't know that there's ever been any other time in history where you saw that. I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, yeah, in the past, I don't know that that was a thing. Not like this. The generations work together. The younger people learn from the older people. The older people understood they had an obligation to the younger people. I don't know that a lot of older people feel that anymore. Totally, I'm not talking about anybody in particular. A lot of the older generation seems more concerned about, like, this is my time. This is for me. I'm not worried about my grandkids. They're fine. I'm going to take care. This is my time. I'm not going to worry about what's going on with them. You don't have as much of this passing on information and skills and knowledge from the older generation to the younger generation anymore. So the younger generation is just out here flapping, trying to do the best they can to figure out how to maneuver in this crazy world that they have to live in now. And they feel like they're rudderless. They have no direction. I don't think they really feel like they can go to the older generations for help, because quite frankly, I think a lot of them, when they try to go to the older generations for help, they get, well, you just need to work harder. You're just lazy. I mean, I don't know. By the time I was your age, I had this, and this. I mean, what are you doing? And it's frustrating. It's like, never mind. You know what? Forget it. Just forget it. And then they mutter under their breath about the damn boomers on their way out the door. So if you wonder why, if you're a boomer and you wonder why a lot of younger people may talk about you the way they do, please try to understand that there may be a reason that you just don't get. But just because you don't get it doesn't mean it doesn't have validity to it. It doesn't mean it's not real. Now, I'm not saying every complaint is valid. I'm not saying that. But I know, I don't want to get into details, but yeah, so both of my parents are silent generation, and I don't know that either of them would really fully understand what's going on. Like, because I showed my dad, because he was saying something about, people today, they're spoiled. They want all the nice stuff right away. You know what you need to do? People are too good to live in a trailer. You get you a trailer, live in a trailer. Live in that. People won't do that, though. They don't want to do that. I said, okay, hang on a minute. Let me get my phone out. Let's pull up Zillow. Let's see. You say like a mobile home, buy a mobile home. Yeah. Okay. All right. How much do you think that would cost? Oh, I don't know. $10,000? $10,000. Okay. Okay. Let's do that. Let's look on Zillow and see, like, if I wanted to buy a single wide mobile home in the area where you live, which is kind of a poor area, let's go look and see, like, if I wanted to buy a single wide trailer, say a quarter of an acre of land, not much. How much do you think that would cost a person? I don't know, $10,000, $12,000? Okay. No, try $100,000, $120,000, $150,000. For a single wide trailer on a little bitty bit of land. He couldn't believe it. He could not believe it. He was gobsmacked. Just, yeah. If you want to buy just a little bitty old house, $250,000 for a house this big with like 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, $250,000. Yeah. Things have changed, man. Things have changed. They are not the same. I mean, like, I bought my house 8 years ago for $150,000. That house today is valued at $320,000. The exact same house with no improvements has more than doubled in value since I bought it. And I know, because I have to pay taxes on that now, and it sucks. My taxes doubled too, which sucks, but I can't do anything about it. Older people, and not all of them, a lot of them, they're settled in. They've got their houses paid for. They're retired. They're not having to go out in the world every day. They kind of live in their own little bubble, and they cannot appreciate how fast things have changed, because during their younger years, things didn't change that fast. Things as we go along are changing faster and faster and faster, to the point where I don't know what to expect next. I do not know. And with AI coming, that's going to revolutionize everything. I don't even know what to expect from that. Nobody does. Nobody knows where that's going. Not really. I don't think we know the full extent of it. And And so I will tell you, as a Gen X person, I'm okay. I'm good. I have a full-time job. I'm okay. But I know a lot of people, my generation, and I know boomers that are not okay too. I know some of y'all, again, I'm not picking on anybody in particular. I'm not. And if you feel called out, you need to go talk to a counselor or somebody about why this is so, why I'm not talking about you. I'm really not. I'm okay. But there are people who are not okay. There are a lot of people who are not okay, and I don't have any answers. I really don't. And I will tell you now, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, you guys, I feel really bad for you. I do, and I have no answers for you. The only thing I would say, and this is just my opinion, be careful of the advice you take, because kids are still being told in school, go to college, go to college, go to college. I know you don't know what you want to do. Go to college anyway. Just go. You'll figure it out when you get there. Just go. It's important that you go get a degree. It doesn't even matter what the degree is. Just get a degree, and then you can use that to get your foot in the door in a job. That's not really true anymore. It's really not. There are people who have really kick-ass degrees who can't get a job anywhere. There just aren't any damn jobs. Oh, it looks like there are tons, but they're fake. They're ghost jobs. It's just people collecting your data to sell to third parties. It's not a real job. They're just getting all of your data and selling it. But there's no way to know if it's real or not. Sometimes you can't tell, and you just have to take a chance, because that's the only way you can apply for a job. You can't go to a place and apply for a job anymore. And a lot of older people don't seem to get that. You can't just walk into a place and shake somebody's hand and get a job anymore. It does not work that way. But I feel really bad for the younger generations. Like my older son right now is looking for a place to live. He wants to get his own place. Well, my God, I had no idea how much rent had gone up. And that's another thing I've learned from the younger generation is, holy crap. Have you looked at rent? And it doesn't seem to matter where you live, because I just was curious. I looked up rent prices in my hometown where I grew up. I grew up in a town of less than 3,000 people. Little bitty town in the middle of nowhere. It is not near anything at all. So it's not even like a bedroom community for a larger city. It's not. It's none of that. Rent is outrageous there too. I don't know how anybody is paying it, because there are no jobs there. Like, I don't know who's paying this crazy rent, but, oh yeah, a little 1-bedroom apartment's $1,200. Who in the hell is paying that? That's as much as it is here. Good God. House prices, same thing. My house would be $400,000 down there. How? I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. There are investment companies buying up a lot of properties, and I can't really talk about that either because I'll get flagged, but oh yeah, that's a big part of the housing shit, is these big companies buying up properties, rental properties, and single family homes and stuff. That's a big part of it too. That's what's driving a lot of it, to the point where average people can't afford it anymore. My son, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm looking at your income and I'm looking at the rent, and ooh, you're going to need a roommate or two. And he doesn't want a roommate, but I'm like, dude, I think you're going to have a roommate. I don't think you can afford a 1-bedroom apartment. When I was his age, I could afford a 1-bedroom apartment. It really was not that much of a stretch, and I wasn't making that much money. I hated to tell him how much I paid for rent when I was in my early 20s. It was like $450 a month for a pretty good sized place. My favorite apartment that I rented was downtown in Greensboro, and this was back in the late 96, 97, 98, some right in there. It had a big front porch. It had a big screened in back porch, big living room. It had a separate bedroom, kitchen and dining and laundry area. This was a big apartment. It was $310 a month for this apartment. Big clawfoot bathtub in the bathroom. Nice place, really nice. $310 a month for that apartment. It just makes me physically ill to go online and look at apartments and see how much they are. And, you know, my son is just like, what am I supposed to do? I said, you're going to have to get roommates, honest to God. I know you don't want to do that. I think you're either going to have to find a way to make more money, or you're going to have at least one roommate. I just don't see any other way to do it. Because you can't afford the rent on these places. You can't. I'm sorry. I know you think you can. No, because rent is just one thing you have to pay for. You got utilities, food. You have a lot of stuff to pay for that you're not thinking about. You can't afford that rent. You just can't. You know, and if I have to co-sign on it, knowing you can't afford it, I'm not comfortable with that, quite frankly. So I said all that to say, I feel genuinely sorry for the younger generations. I do. I really feel for y'all, because I don't know. And then people bitch at the younger generations for not having kids. How the hell are they supposed to have kids? They can't support themselves. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't want to work. They literally don't. With what everything costs, how the hell are they? Do you know how much daycare is? That's another thing. If you're an older generation person, do you have any idea how much daycare is? Can you guess how much for one kid daycare will cost? Now, it's different all over the country. It's going to vary depending on where you live, obviously. So you wonder why younger people don't have kids? Well, there are a lot of reasons why they don't have kids. I mean, a lot of them look at it like, why would I bring a kid into this? You know, and I understand what you're saying. Why would I want to bring another person into the world with things as messed up as they are, and they're just getting worse all the time? They can't afford it. They flat out can't afford to have kids. There are a lot of young people who would love to have kids. They can't afford it. So they're not having kids. And I don't really know what you expect them to do about that. Yeah, so if you have one kid in daycare, like here where I live, it's about $1,000 a month. $1,200 a month just for daycare. That's one expense. And most couples cannot afford to have one person stay home. They can't, because again, average house, if you want them to live in a house, that's over $400,000. And interest rates have gone up too. That's another added expense. Homeowners insurance has gone through the roof. You may know that. Homeowners insurance is outrageous now. Car insurance is outrageous. To buy a car is outrageous. Everything has gone up so much. And it's like a death by 1,000 cuts. And with all this, the younger generation, from what I'm seeing, they feel like, what's the point? They're just despondent. What is the point of trying to do? What's the point in trying to do anything? What's the point in trying to succeed or save up money? I'm never going to be able to afford a house. I'm never going to be able to afford to get married and have kids. What's the point? And they see, when I was young, I was poor. I didn't have any money. I lived paycheck to paycheck for a long time. But I had hope. I had hope, and I knew that one day it wasn't going to be like that, and it was going to get better. I had hope to hold on to. These kids have no hope. And it's not a flaw with these kids. What is there to hope for? What is there to hope for? And again, I know there are anecdotal examples of, well, these people are young and they've done this and that. That's great. I'm happy. I'm really glad to hear it. But for so many young people, they have no prospects. They have no hope. And when you have no hope, what do you expect them to do? When you lose hope, you lose everything. They have no hope. A lot of these young people have no hope. Boomers, y'all had hope. You had all the optimism in the world. You had everybody rooting for you. You had nobody cutting you down, calling you lazy, a slacker. You had nobody doing that to you. Everybody had your back because everybody needed to see you succeed, and they did everything they could to help you succeed. These kids don't have that. They don't have the support that you had. So can you understand why maybe they look at you the way they do? Can you understand why they maybe have some resentment and some bitterness toward you, and probably some envy too, probably some jealousy, because the way they see it, you had it so much better, and they're jealous, and they are blaming you for the situation that we now live in. Can you kind of understand why that might be? Don't take it personally. I get it. I get it. My generation doesn't really catch it as much as the boomers do. Again, because everybody forgets Gen X. They do. It's true. Nobody remembers us. So we kind of get left out of a lot of this. But I get it. I get it. But unfortunately, I don't have an answer. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I don't think it's one thing. It's not like, well, you fix this one thing, everything's going to be fine. Again, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. And you need 1,000 different solutions. You need 1,000 different answers. And I don't have them. I really don't have them. I don't know where this is headed. I know our population is headed off a cliff because people are not having children. The average woman, I think, in the United States has 1.6 kids? And it's dropping. And I think it's like 1.4, 1.6 and falling. And there are a lot of other first world nations that are experiencing the same thing. So it's not just us, but yeah, it's definitely going to be an issue. I understand why they're bitter. I understand why they feel the way they do. I get it. I just wish I had an answer, but I really don't. So I'd like to say it would be great if all the generations could come together around a bonfire and sing Kumbaya, and everybody could get along and everything would be fine. We just hug it out, you know. I don't see that happening though, because boomers can't. Let me just say something. Don't get mad. This is just how I feel. It's been all about you long enough. It's been all about you now for what, 50 freaking years? It's been about you. Since the late 40s, really, it's been all about you. To the point where my generation just got skipped completely. Yeah. I mean, y'all are the reason why nobody remembers us, because it was all about you for so freaking long. It's not really about you anymore. I am more concerned now. And the millennials, I felt bad for y'all too, because a lot of y'all graduated after, right into the crash of '08, and everything was messed up for so long. I feel bad for y'all too. Don't get me wrong. I feel bad for millennials too. I do, because y'all really got a raw deal. You really did. A lot of y'all came to age right at the beginning of the recession, and like, oh, that hurts. My generation, it was pretty quiet. We came of age and we got out into the world, and we had the Gulf War, but that was about it. I mean, it didn't really affect us that much. It was kind of quiet for us. We didn't have a war. We didn't really have anything to worry about. We had it pretty good too. I think we probably come in number 2 to the boomers as far as like how good we had it. We really did. And I don't think I take that for granted. I totally don't. But we need to focus more on the young people. And I know you don't want to do that. I know you don't. Because this is just what I've witnessed with a lot of boomers. You really do have main character syndrome. You do. And that's why you take everything personally, because you really, truly do believe everything is about you. It's not. It's not about you. I am worried after listening to my kids and their friends talk about things that concern them, like their lives and their futures. I'm worried about this generation. I'm very worried about them. And I'm worried about Gen Alpha. I'm worried about all the young people. Because so many things that the older generations that we took for granted, they don't have. They don't have it. And they are rudderless out there floating in the sea, and they're floating out at sea, and the older generations are shouting insults at them from the bank. Just, we're on the edge, we're on the grass over here shouting. We're just giving them shit. That's all we have for them. It's just giving them shit for it. It's not right. It's absolutely not right. We need to mentor these people, but we also need to understand the world that they are living in. It is not the world that we grew up in at all. At all. And I have tried to listen and understand for myself what they're dealing with, and it's messed up. No jobs, you go to college, you get all this debt, and you have a degree that's useless. Not all of them, but a lot of them ended up with useless degrees. They did everything right. They did everything they were told to do, and now they have all this debt, no career prospects. A lot of them can't even find just a basic job anywhere. The biggest problem is that they have no hope. They have no hope of anything ever getting any better, and we have to help them. I don't know how. The first thing we can do is climb down out of our own asses, and I'm talking about boomers, millennials, Gen X. We got to climb down out of our own asses and find a way to help these people. Because otherwise, I don't know what they're going to do. We're going to have a whole lost generation of people. And they don't have anybody to look up to. They don't have anybody to talk to for advice. We had that. Maybe not everybody, but for the most part, we could go and talk to the older generations for advice. These young people, I don't think they feel like they can do that because they feel like you're so out of touch, you don't understand anyway. And you're too busy doing your own thing. You don't even care about them. Not really. You just let them do their own thing, and then you criticize them when they don't do what you think they should do because they are living in a world that you don't understand. And so they're alienated from you. Like there's this big wall between us because you don't get it and they know you don't get it. So they don't even try to talk to you. So they're just trying to figure it out on their own, and they're not doing very well because none of this, there are no rules anymore. There are like no rules for how this shit works anymore. And it sucks. And I don't have any answers. But those are my thoughts on the different generations. Also, if you were raised by silent generation like I was, you have my sympathy. They did not believe in Dr. Spock. They did not do gentle parenting. No, my parents' answers to everything was, don't. That was about it. Don't. And you get backhanded. You ever been spanked in a circle? Good times. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, that was a special little generation right there. Man, they didn't mess around with children. They were not going to tolerate your shit. Anyway, try to laugh at yourself, whatever generation you are. Watch that guy, Jared Benson. Watch some of his stuff. Learn to laugh at yourself. Learn to laugh at your generation. Learn to laugh at yourself. Don't take life so seriously. And if there's a young person in your life, will you please just go talk to them? Would you just really listen to them? Don't just listen to respond. I want you to really hear what they're saying. Because I've tried to do that with some younger people myself. I'm trying to really understand where they're coming from. Really listen to them. If nothing else, it might help you get a better perspective on how things really are these days. And if you can give them some words of encouragement or advice or just anything, I think they would really appreciate it because they don't have that. Their own parents are too busy with shit. Their grandparents are doing God knows what. Just listen to them and at least let them know that you hear them and you understand and, you really feel for them. I think that would mean a lot. I think it would. They're struggling. They are struggling right now. And I wish I had a better answer. I really don't. But if we could all just find a way to help one person of another generation, I think it would make the world a slightly better place, and we can use all the help we can get at this point. So that's my advice. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. And I hope things are going well for you and that you haven't lost hope. And I hope things get better. I don't know that they will anytime soon. Maybe one day, but I don't know. But thank you so much for being here. I really hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.